Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Dennis. So today we're going to review the Corsair Carbide spec-delta RGB case. Okay, so they've had a couple different series of these same cases. This one is the RGB version and slightly different model. We're going to have a look at it, get it out of the box, and see what we got. Here we go. Okay, so here's our first look. So we're going to get it out and we'll see what it looks like after we get it out of the box. So of course it's got tempered glass on it, front and the back, and we'll go over some more of the details after we get it out of the box. And you see, just looking right here, it's kind of cool. Well, anyway, get it out. So there's a little bit more to that than some of the ones I've experienced before, so I just took the box off and we'll continue. So we got some nice styrofoam top and bottom just to make sure it stays safe, and of course we have our plastic to keep it all dust free and all that kind of good stuff. Let's get this off. So we can see all automatically we have our spec-delta RGB, okay, Carbide series mid-tower gaming case. We got a little manual here to tell us everything about it. So as we're opening it from the bottom, we might as well start at the bottom. So we got a couple of feet, okay, and we have a filter. Lift it up, pulls out, goes back in just as easy. Very nice. I like this type of mechanism because it's just much easier once the system is all set up to get out. Okay, so I like that. So let's continue. Okay, so we have our I/O shield that's going to go here. We have 7 PCIe slots, so adapter slots for your graphics card, Wi-Fi adapters, all that kind of good stuff. We have a fan that's in the inside. We'll show you that in a minute. And we have some breathing spots, airflow. And this is where your power supply is going to go. And it looks like there's only 2 screws on the side to take the side panel off. Let's see if we can get it off without using a screwdriver. And by gosh, we can. So let's see how they come out here. This one here. Generally, sometimes, yep, so it looks like it's adaptive. So I like that. And then pull it right off. Nice solid construction. So on the back side, we got our cables for the case. We have lots of rubber grommets, a couple spots for SSDs, and we have more cables on the inside. We'll get that. Down here, we have our hard drive bay, and we have 2 slots with our accessories in here, which we'll get out. And of course you can put SSDs in there as well as you wish. And we'll have a look at this a little bit later on. And you can see where your holes are for screwing in an SSD or putting in a 3.5-inch hard drive. You put it back in, and it's toolless, so that's a nice option. This comes out, I'm not sure, it looks like, okay, so this is what's holding in your hard drive. So a hard drive bay, 1 screw, whole thing comes out, gives you more room if you want to work on it. Okay, let's go to the front. Basically, you just pull on the bottom. Okay, just find it, there's a little lip underneath here. And, oh, that came off. I loosened it, but I didn't know I'd loosened it that much. Now this front cover is actually like an acrylic. So it's like a plastic acrylic type thing. So anyhow, comes off pretty easy. We can see our fans. And that's pretty much it. Putting it back on is pretty much the same thing. Line her up, give it a bit of a tap, and same thing. Done. I love the design. It's got some nice airflow here and a little bit more down here with 1 fan right there that I can see right now. Move it over to the side. Taking your tempered glass off, you have 4 screws. Take that off, we'll have a look in the inside. Okay, so we got our 4 screws out. Nothing fancy, just those little ones there. Okay, straight screwdriver, but you can do it by hand, so no problems. And just pull this out, and now we're ready to look in the inside. It's not too dark. I think it looks good. So the nice thing is it does come with 3 fans in the front. Now I do believe they're all RGB, and of course we have our mess of cables here. Looks like somebody may have loosened them. So we have an RGB cable, more than likely for the fans, and a bunch of different things. We'll go through all of that later on. There's 1 rubber grommet right here. Now, that is kind of a nice feature, because sometimes you're trying to get things up through here and it just doesn't always work. Having it here, maybe you can bring your cables for your graphics card, just bring them straight up and they're right there. It might make it a cleaner look. We'll have to see as we go along. So on the inside we have a huge cutout. So we'll accommodate an ATX, micro ATX, and an ITX motherboard. It's got all your standoffs pre-installed. You can move them, of course, depending on your motherboard. Okay, has one rear exhaust fan on the back, 120mm. 3 RGB 120mm fans in the front. Okay, so this one is just a standard fan. It's a 4-pin. Nope. Okay, so there's a standard fan in the back. It is a 3-pin, so it's not PWM, just to let you know. And it does have a little bit of airflow here with the cutouts. So let's move on to the back. One more time, just have a quick look. Side. And of course our beautiful look at the front. I really do like the look of that. So let's have a look on the top. So having a look at the top, we have a dust filter. Okay, magnetic, sits on the top. And you can put a couple more fans on the top here. That will accommodate a couple more 120s or maybe a couple 140s. I'll verify that a little bit here. I want to show you the front here. I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so here we're looking at the front. So you do have a reset button, your headphone, mic, couple USB 3.0, and your power switch. So before we get on and have a look at the cables, I just want to go over a couple of dimensions. So your dimensions, length, width, and height are 440mm long, 210mm wide, and 450mm high. Okay, the material is steel, plastic, and of course the tempered glass. In the front you can hit 120 times 3 fans, which are already pre-installed, RGB. Or you can put 140 times 2 if you wish. And 120mm times 3 is what comes included, like I just said. On the top you can fit a 120 times 2 or 140 times 2. So that's what I wanted to just confirm. And on the rear, like I mentioned before, is 120mm. And that comes included as well. You have 7 expansion slots. You have your USB 3.0 times 2 in the front, power reset and headphone mic. And your power supply is an ATX up to 180mm. And of course, it's not included. So that's pretty much all we really need to know. Let's have a look at the cables. Okay, so since I'm going to be doing a build with this, I'm doing all the parts, and then of course, like I always do review all the parts, put everything together, make a build. But I wanted to show you in this video power supply I'm going to be using. So it is a Corsair. I use a lot of Corsair power supplies because I just have a lot of faith in them. This is an RM850X, 850 watt, 80 plus gold, has all the connectors you're probably ever going to need. Okay, you got your ATX, your 24 pin, you got your CPU, 8 pin for power. You've got your PCIe connectors for your graphics cards, your hard drives with your SATA connectors, even includes your Molex and even a floppy drive connector. So just great product overall, high performance, and it's an ATX power supply. Hopefully it'll work good in this and there's room for it. We're going to find out. Okay, so we have 80 plus gold certified, like I mentioned, 100% all Japanese, 105% capacitors, 105 degree capacitors, I should say. 0 RPM mode for ultra low noise operation. So when it's not being taxed out, it's going to be, the fans will not spin. Superior voltage regulation and long-term reliability. And I'm going to attest to that. I've had some power supplies I'm still running. It's been going on 7 years now. So that's why I like using Corsairs. I always get good quality products and they last. So the video is not really about a power supply, but I did want to just give you a chance to look at all the different things here. High performance, premium components, low noise, 150 watts, silent operation, and low and medium loads. Just all the details here for your frequency, your AC input, all that kind of good stuff. 80 plus efficiency, and your fan noise, of course. So we're going to get it out of the box, and we're going to continue with the case review. So one of the things I was worried about at first was the clearance in our case for our power supply. But this power supply actually is quite nice size. Okay, it's going to fit in here without any issues. whatsoever. It's going to take up over that much space. Still going to have a bit of room in here. And of course, you could probably move this. We'll have a look at that later on and see if we can move it to make even more room. But the beauty of this is it's a fully modular power supply. All right. You can see all your connectors here. And so we shouldn't have any problem putting that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so one of the nice features I want to show in this case, which doesn't come on a lot of cases, there's 2 screws that are in here. I took them out, and then I was able to take the hard drive cage, slide it over, line it up with the holes in here, and I'm going to be able to put it back in, and that gives me more room for my cables and stuff. So that's pretty handy. So now you can see the screws are all back in. These 2 are back in. This is slid all the way over to the left, and I've tightened them. Now the reason I left it in there in the first place is if you wanted to put a radiator in the front. Okay, we're not doing that in this build, so move them over. It gives us much more room. This is about 2 inches of space for cables, and it's still a nice smaller form factor. It's not completely small, but it gives you more room to work in, and you still have your hard drive bay, which is fastened with this screw here instead of the one that was on here before. So just a really nice feature of this case. That's something I appreciate, actually. Okay, so one of the things I want to show in this case is the fact that your RGB, they've already got everything all connected for you to make it that much easier for you. All right, so the only thing you have to plug in is your RGB connector itself, so you can see the lights. All right, you also have 3 fans that you can plug in and connect, all right, to the motherboard. And the only other cables you got is you got your USB 3.0 and your HD audio, and of course all your connectors, which are your reset, your power, and your PLED positive and negative. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is for cables. And of course your cable in the back for your rear exhaust. So they give you all kinds of twist ties, which there are lots of tie downs on the back of this case. So cable management should be really good. Even get little washers. I'll have to figure out what those are for. I'm not really sure. Power supply, which we've already put in. And all our other little screws. And of course a standoff, should we need it, which we probably will, because I think an ATX motherboard is going in here. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Alright everybody, so that's pretty much it for the case. I couldn't get the lights to turn on, and that's not because it's just it's strictly RGB, which has to go into the motherboard. Normally I can kind of rig it up and show you the lights, but in this particular case I couldn't do that, but that's not a big deal. We'll see it when I do the build. Overall, I like the case. Power supply shroud does not come off. I kind of wish it had. I always find if it comes off, it makes life a little easier. But more and more they're making them so they don't come off. But everything else about the case seems pretty good. Bit of airflow in the front. I think the airflow throughout the case isn't going to be as great as some other cases I've had, but overall I think it's pretty good. I think it'll look pretty sharp once it's all turned on. Anyhow, if you like the video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and tell me that you like it. If you don't, well, you know what to do there too. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Hit that bell for future notifications. And if you got any questions or comments, put them in the comments. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.